Hello everyone. Welcome to this introduction to meditation series from the Tibetan Buddhist Society. This class is the fourth of a 5-week series. The format for these classes is first I'll do a talk to give you an overall explanation and some tools for deeper relaxation. Then we'll do a guided meditation and then have time for questions at the end using the chat. Today, I'd like to share a reflection on the opportunity to live with more appreciation. With an attitude and feeling of appreciation, you are able to stress less. If you feel discontent, dissatisfaction, regret, you are not relaxed. But if you appreciate life and see its potential, then you can be more relaxed. This attitude is more a feeling that there's good in my life and what I have now is full of possibility. If you feel this in your heart, then you will relax more. And if you relax, you will feel happier and it becomes easier to settle the mind and to meditate. Developing this basic feeling is based on Buddhist insight. So it's not just adopting a positive attitude. It's based on insight or understanding. When you have a real sense for this, then you change. So let's look at this. I talked about a basic attitude to life. So what is life? It's our precious resource. It's being alive, it's being conscious, it's also time, the time that we're alive. So the first part of the insight is that life is finite. You know that with your intellect, but you don't always feel it. So when you're upset by small things, or sweat over trivial issues, or put a lot of emphasis on things that are not meaningful, you've lost sight of the larger truth. For a lot of people, they come to value life intensely when it's threatened. So, for example, people who've recovered from a bad injury or a life-threatening disease, they often say they're glad they had that experience because they have a completely different attitude. They appreciate their lives and their loved ones more. They appreciate all the small moments that make a life. They appreciate the potential opportunity of their life. So with this insight that life is finite, you then see its value and you treat it with respect and reverence now. As it is finite, you need to make your life meaningful and use your life in the best possible way. Seeing the possibilities of our life is recognizing the freedoms that you actually have now. So this understanding is that you have intelligence, you have freedoms and capabilities of being human. There are other forms of life, but being human is unique. So think about the animals. The animals that live in the wild, they have a lot of fear. Unless they're on the top of the food chain, they're preyed upon by other animals. If they are on top of the food chain, then humans think it would be a good idea to kill them, because they want a stuffed lion's head in their room. Or think about the animals that are cultivated by humans, that are used by them. They may be grown for their meat or for their coats. One day they'll be killed. Or they may be like the race horses. They're forced to race or forced to jump over hurdles. Then they get injured. If they're injured or they're old, then they're mistreated because they're no longer useful. Even the animals that we see that have good lives, like pets that are cherished by their owners, they don't have intelligence like humans do. They can't read, they can't write, they can't communicate like humans. Then in general, animals have very little control over their environment. As humans, if it's dark, we turn the light on. If it's hot or cold, we turn the air conditioner on. We have advanced in this way, so we're comfortable physically. And humans can change the environment to suit them, often destructively, But we do have cities and suburbs to live in and roads that we can travel on. Animals can't do this very well. Then we can see that animals and insects, they far outnumber humans. The number of animals and insects on a small plot of land far outnumbers the whole human population in this world. So you are fortunate to have all the capabilities of being a human. You have the ability to learn, and with this, you have the ability to evolve. So amongst humans, you are fortunate to be in a comfortable physical environment. Many people have very difficult physical conditions. People in many parts of the world have a constant physical struggle just to survive. Then if you live in a developed or developing country, you can actually have good conditions. And in Australia, we're particularly lucky. The income here per person is only exceeded by the people in Norway. We have quality universal healthcare. We have high age expectancy. We have high rates of literacy. We have one of the lowest infant death rates. We have a functioning democracy. So we live in a prosperous country where we don't have to struggle too much to have the basics in life. We're not starving, we're not homeless, and for the majority of people, they have some leisure time. This is a great good fortune. If we didn't have the basic necessities of life, you would have to spend so much time just in getting them. Then you wouldn't have time for any personal development or spiritual practice. Now, you may feel that you're not financially secure, but if you compare yourself with the majority of people in the world, you can come to realize that you're actually really fortunate. Then mostly we live in a clean, healthy, gentle environment. The places where most of us live are not dirty, not unhealthy. The climate is not too harsh. Then we live in a peaceful place. We're not constantly at war like some other places. In general, we have freedom to do what we want. We're not controlled by a dictator or by a totalitarian government that's intent on suppressing its people, that wants to control everything that we do and that we say. If we can't work, we receive a level of support. So not only are we comfortable physically, we live in a country where people generally care about the less fortunate and for the most part make provisions to look after them. Then, as well as having comfortable physical conditions, we're lucky not to be seriously physically or mentally impaired. So you have the human capacity to learn and to evolve, and you have the freedoms that give you the opportunity to do this. Then we reflect that among the humans with comfortable conditions like yourself, most people don't have a deep interest in understanding the potential of their minds or interest in developing themselves. Most people have a conventional mindset that's dominated by 8 worldly concerns. These are 4 pairs, with one side being an attachment and the other being an aversion. So these 8 worldly concerns are, firstly, taking delight in having money and material possessions, and also being disappointed or upset or angry when we lose our possessions or we don't get them. The next pair is we feel delighted when people praise us and approve of us and tell us how wonderful we are. Or feeling upset and dejected when they criticize us and disapprove of us, even if they're telling the truth. The third pair is we feel delighted when we have a good reputation and a good image, and being dejected and upset when we have a bad reputation. And finally, we feel delighted when we experience sense pleasures, wonderful sights, sounds, odors, tastes, tactile sensations. And we feel dejected and upset when we have unpleasant sensations. So these 4 pairs is one side being an attachment and the other an aversion. For example, being dominated by what people think. So we're attached to being praised, and we're upset when we're being criticized. So a healthy approach to these 8 worldly concerns is not to abandon your possessions, or not enjoy having a new car, or not enjoy a lovely meal, or like being praised for your work. The alternative that we're looking for here is to have a degree of equanimity towards these concerns. So we don't become so excited at having wealth, praise, or reputation, or pleasure, or feel so down by loss, by criticism, by disrepute, or by unpleasant sensations. So having more equanimity for these is a more realistic view of the limitations and benefits of these worldly concerns. So then, having this wisdom, your mind is freer from the anxieties and frustrations of this life. But if you have a compulsion about the 8 worldly concerns, this limits your ability to settle. Because as long as we're completely controlled by these 8 worldly concerns, we cannot settle our minds. We cannot find peace and tranquility. But if we can develop more equanimity towards them, you become less disturbed or upset, less overexcited, less depressed, less angry. And you're less uncomfortable with experiences or feelings that accompany them. And this also allows us to respond in more appropriate ways. For example, we can calmly evaluate the praise and the criticism to see if it's correct and if there's something that we can learn from it. So these worldly concerns are not based on appreciating life as it is and recognizing its potential, seeing that life is finite, seeing that you are already endowed with capabilities and good conditions. This frees you from the constant striving for conditions, for reputation, for praise, for more sense pleasure. So the alternative to being obsessed with these 8 worldly concerns is to recognize the potential in your life. Because you have intelligence, you have an interest in meditating, and perhaps an interest in a spiritual path, so you can develop, you can evolve. Then not only are you interested in the spiritual path, you've met the teachings of meditation and Buddhist approaches. Many people have an interest, but they never encounter the teachings. So these teachings and methods will actually enable you to have real progress in your development on the path to achieving real and lasting happiness. Not only for yourself, but also for your capacity to benefit others. The potential is that the mind, the emotions, the spirit can develop. In modern times, this is described as neuroplasticity. So if you focus on relaxing, if you meditate, if you choose and practice positive intentions, then you will change and you will evolve as a person. You have the innate capacity to be wiser, to be more compassionate, to be happier. The masters of meditation teach that this capacity is untapped for most people. So you can become more enlightened because you have this potential. In Buddhism, we represent the Buddha with statues and with paintings. And while he was a historical person, the image of the Buddha actually represents your own enlightened potential within you. And that's the true purpose of representing the Buddha, to show our own enlightened potential. So how do you know that this potential actually exists? If you practice meditation and the teachings, then you see for yourself that it makes you feel better, that you become more relaxed and happier, that there is change. You become a better person, you're more useful to those people around you. And the small steps indicate that change is possible. So these qualities that you discover can be greatly expanded because it's the nature of our mind to know and to be clear. Our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and the stories that we tell ourselves all occur in the space of clear and knowing. We just don't tend to see it. It's like a person who lives somewhere that's covered in clouds all the time. They don't know the clouds are happening in a clear, sunny sky. But as you practice, you get breaks in the cloud. So you have this potential to develop within you. It's there now, and you can nurture it every day. When you feel a bit relaxed from meditating, it's simply this aspect of a natural, clear state being revealed a little bit more. So meditation, the mindsets and tools of Buddhism and the spiritual path exist as methods to uncover your potential, to tap a more sustainable happiness, and to increase your ability to be a positive influence. When you recognize this, you can feel very joyful. And then you can come up with some determination to use this opportunity wisely. This is a relatively rare and very valuable situation. We have the time to be able to develop. We have the circumstances which support such practice. So you need to appreciate the rarity and preciousness of your situation. If you don't appreciate the opportunity that you have in this situation, you're in danger of misusing this life or not using it to its greatest capacity. Recognizing the opportunity allows you to put things into perspective and to decide what's really important to you. Many of us spend our lives not recognizing all the things we have going for us and only looking at what's not going for us at any time. We might have so many wonderful things happening, but we get in a bad mood because we missed the train in the morning or we got stuck in traffic. And then this bad mood spoils our whole day. We don't bother to think about the fact that we had breakfast, we have a nice family, a nice home, nice colleagues. We let one simple thing completely affect us. So this insight helps you to rebalance how you're looking at your life by noticing all the good things. This makes you realize that although you have some difficulties compared to what you have going for you, you're still very fortunate. Many people are chasing something. They think if this was better, then life would be good. Then you can end up pursuing more and more things outside yourself without thinking that just what I have at the moment is enough, having some contentment with that. And not only that, that there's some opportunity in that. So by developing this insight, you become happier about your circumstances and you recognize better the potential that you have. You have opportunity, and this can inspire and invigorate us to make our lives meaningful. So it's important to consider the advantages of our present situation, because then we'll stop taking them for granted and we will actually use our situation. Often people feel down because they think about their obstacles. They think about what they lack. They become too immersed in self-pity. This can be a sad waste of their potential. So you can counteract feelings of being down, of being frustrated, of lacking meaning by consciously remembering how you are fortunate, by reflecting on your good qualities and on your opportunities. So in this situation, we have the potential to perfect all our qualities, which are the source of happiness for ourselves and for others, and to become more enlightened. But we may have a feeling of mental poverty. We feel as if our life is a mess. But when we see our opportunities and our potential, we realize we have so many things going for us. Then we can reflect on how can we make our life more meaningful. So when we see that we have so much going for us, then we'll make an effort to practice personal development or a spiritual path. Because we see that our opportunity now is quite special, it's quite rare, so we want to make the most of it, not just fritter our time away, wasting our time on things that don't actually bring any meaning or purpose or true, genuine, heartfelt happiness in our life. So in this situation, we can use each instant for a beneficial purpose. So using mindfulness all our activities can become meaningful, and we can progress in our meditation practice and in our development of wisdoms and in insights. So, for example, with a motivation of compassion and wishing to be of benefit to others, all our activities, whether we're working, whether we're relaxing or reading, become part of our path to becoming more enlightened. You don't need to become a monk or a nun. You don't need to go and live in an isolated place to be able to gain wisdom and insights and to progress personally and spiritually. You can live a life with a job and a family and make progress and gain insights. So how you do this, progress on this path to becoming more enlightened, is by your mental attitude to everything that you do. Whether you're working or sleeping, helping others, or meditating, or on holiday. If you remain mindful of your spiritual practice, then even a busy lifestyle can be directed towards progress in your development, towards becoming more enlightened. Your personal and spiritual practice depends on your mind, not so much on your external conditions. So how you progress along the path is to progress moment by moment in your daily activities. When you wake up, you can make the first thought of the day, as much as possible, I'm not going to harm others today. As much as possible, I'm going to help them. When it's a simple thought, but starting the day this way changes the way that you live. The thought to cherish others and to refrain from harming them gives us a positive motivation and a clear direction in our day's activities. If we encounter a difficult or disturbing situation during the day, then we can remember our morning motivation. And this helps us to act beneficially and to avoid becoming angry, becoming conceited, becoming jealous. Then throughout the day, we can cultivate the motivation. I'm going to act for the benefit of others. I'm going to lessen my limitations. I'm going to develop my potentials completely so I can help others more effectively. So in this way, we can transform what might be otherwise insignificant actions into part of our progress towards becoming more enlightened. Actions can be done with different motivations. According to our motivation, then we will be happy or unhappy, and our actions will be worthwhile or not. So, for example, we can reluctantly clean the house, all the time wishing that this unpleasant work was done so we can do something more enjoyable. In that case, we're not very happy. Our action of cleaning then is neutral. It's neither constructive or destructive. But on the other hand, if we think it would be nice to clean the house so my family can enjoy a pleasant environment, then we're happy to vacuum, sweep, and dust. Then also, if we imagine that we're cleaning the dust of the negative minds from the minds of ourselves and others, then vacuuming and mopping and dusting become positive actions and a meditation. So in this way, our action then becomes constructive and a positive imprint is left on our mind, on what would otherwise be a mundane activity. So by generating a good motivation in the morning and then reflecting on it throughout our day, we'll find our wish to help others and not harm them arises more easily. And then it becomes more genuine and heartfelt. The path of spiritual development is a gradual one. It's developed day by day, moment by moment. Each morning is a new opportunity to cultivate our good qualities, and each moment of the day is a chance to live them. So now that we've come across the teachings, the opportunity of our life becomes limitless. We recognize that the real meaning in life is found in positive states. Then we can embrace events and people with positive states. Worldly success without some inner development can bring negative consequences, such as more stress, or more conceit, or more grasping, or more anger. For example, the person who wants to earn more money goes for more and more promotions or works more and more on their business. So they may earn more money, but they're spending more time at work. So they're giving up time that they would otherwise spend with their family or their friends, or on the things that they find actually meaningful and that they actually enjoy. So for a lot of people, progressing into bigger jobs and growing businesses can also bring more stress and anxiety from the pressure of their work, and also from what they're actually giving up. Or we extend ourselves to get something that we really want. Once the initial pleasure of possessing it has passed, now we have this thing that we have to look after, and we have to protect it. So we spend our time looking after it. We worry about damaging it. We have to protect it or we might lose it. So the initial pleasure of the possession has now been replaced by the stress and the worry of looking after this possession, of protecting it. This is what happens to us. So this is the problem with looking for happiness only in external conditions. So it's not the having of wealth or power or reputation in itself that's the problem. It's the grasping for more and the fear of the loss. This is what brings us unhappiness. But if we can wrap our worldly goals with spiritual development, then we start to get real value in our activities. So by taking advantage of our great opportunity, then we'll experience the happy results of improving ourselves and being more benefit to others. So what thinking about the opportunity of our life shows is that we have a lot of potential through being human, by having human intelligence and through having the freedoms of living in a country like this. Then through having spiritual awareness means that we have a lot of potential. What the potential is the potential to use every moment. There's the potential of this current moment and of any moment and how we relate to it. So reflecting on our precious life and its opportunity is reminding us about this potential and reminding us to take the opportunity of the present moment to its advantage. We use the opportunity by particularly taking a positive approach to our experience and to our activities. So what thinking about this precious life does as a teaching is that it's a reminder that we have an opportunity to do this. If we recognize that we have a precious human life, it lifts our mind. It allows us to see our potential rather than defining ourselves by our problems or by our limitations. Okay, so we'll stop there to do some meditation. And the meditation that we'll do is to develop our appreciation for our very fortunate situation. Okay, so to begin, sit cross-legged on a cushion or however comfortably you can on a cushion, or you can sit in a chair. The main thing is to have an upright, straight spine. Your head should be slightly bent forward, not too much. Place your right hand over your left with your thumbs just touching, and then resting that in your hands in your lap. Your eyes should be half closed and loosely focused. But if you find this too difficult, then you can close your eyes or have them very slightly open. The mouth is closed and your jaw is relaxed. So begin by setting a positive intention for your meditation. You can do this by thinking, through this meditation, may I achieve happiness, enjoyment, good conditions, a calm, peaceful, and happy mind. I wish the same for all other beings. May everyone else also experience happiness, enjoyment, good conditions, and calm, peaceful, and happy minds. Then begin to relax by putting aside all distractions, thoughts such as worries, plans, memories, thoughts of other people, your work, your business, and so on. Settle the mind with a few moments of breathing meditation. So bringing your attention inwards, allow your mind to settle single-pointedly on the rising and falling of your breath. Breathe naturally, don't force your breath in any way. And then just place your attention on that process. The sensation of the breath as it passes through your nose, the slight movement of the chest and stomach. So letting go of everything else and just placing your attention on your breathing. Your mind will wander off. See where your mind wanders off to. Gently notice it. Then gently let it go and come back to the breath. Remember, every time your mind wanders off, notice where it's gone to. Gently let it go, come back again to the breath. Feel your mind start to settle now, become still, like a very deep, tranquil lake. Then we meditate to develop an appreciation for our very fortunate situation. We meditate to recognize the freedoms that we have now. So first we reflect that there are other forms of life, but being human is unique. So we reflect on the situation of the animals. Many animals are preyed upon by other animals. They live in constant fear. Of being hunted. Yet other animals are used by humans. They're cultivated for their meat or their coats. Animals have very little control over their environment. They suffer heat, cold. They have very limited intelligence compared to humans. So think you're lucky that you've been born human. Generate a sense of appreciation and gratitude for this. Generate a genuine awareness of the difficult situation of animals. And then feel gratitude that you have so much more than them. More freedom, more control, more intelligence. Appreciate these. Generate a sense of gratitude. Focus on that. Then reflect that amongst humans, you are fortunate to be in a comfortable physical environment. Many people are very difficult physical conditions, particularly in this country. We're particularly lucky. It's a prosperous country. You don't have to struggle too much to have the basics in life. Reflect on some places where physical conditions are difficult. And feel grateful you don't have that struggle. Mostly we live in a clean, healthy, gentle environment. So generate a sense of appreciation for this, a sense of gratitude for this. Then reflect that we live in a peaceful place. We are not constantly at war. Reflect on some countries that are constantly at war, constant fighting, fear. Reflect we don't live in a place like that. This is a peaceful place. Generate a sense of appreciation and gratitude for this. Then reflect in general. We have freedoms to do what we wish. We're not controlled by a dictator or a totalitarian government that wants to suppress us, wants to control everything that we do, everything that we say. Generate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for this. Then we reflect. If we can't work, we receive some level of support. So we live in a place where people generally care about those who are less fortunate. For the most part, people make provisions for those who are less fortunate and look after them. So in general, it's a compassionate country. We generate a sense of appreciation and gratitude for this. Then we reflect. As well as having comfortable physical conditions, we're lucky not to be seriously physically or mentally impaired. You have the human capacity to learn, to evolve. You have the opportunity to do this. Generate a sense of appreciation and gratitude for this. Then reflect amongst humans with comfortable conditions. Most people don't have a deep interest in understanding the potential of their minds, of developing themselves. Many people have a conventional mindset that's dominated by the 8 worldly concerns. They become excited at having wealth, at having praise, reputation, or sense pleasures. Many people will feel down by loss, by criticism, by disrepute, or unpleasant situations. To some extent, we're less concerned about those. Generate an appreciation and gratitude for this. Reflect because of this, because you have the intelligence, you have an interest in meditating, and perhaps an interest in the spiritual path. You can develop, you can evolve. Generate an appreciation and gratitude for this, because this is rare. Then reflect, not only are you interested in a spiritual path, you have met the teachings of meditation and Buddhist approaches, which can help you. Many people have an interest but never get to encounter these teachings. These teachings and methods will enable you to have real progress in your development on the path to achieving real and lasting happiness, not only for yourself, but for your capacity to benefit others. Generate an appreciation and a gratitude for having actually encountered these methods. By reflecting in this way, you can feel very joyful. You have a rare and valuable situation. You have the time to develop. You have the circumstances to support your practice. You have the potential to perfect all your qualities, the source of happiness for yourself and others, to become more enlightened. So you can think to yourself, I am fortunate to have been born in a situation free of extreme suffering and limitation. Not only that, I have the rare and precious opportunity to practice a spiritual path, to become more enlightened with this precious human life. to develop a strong sense of appreciation and gratitude and rejoicing in this. Hold that feeling single-pointedly. Then think, although I have this wonderful opportunity now, this life is impermanent. Therefore, I strongly determine to take the essence of this life, of freedom, of opportunity, by practicing the path to becoming more enlightened. To try and ensure that I gain all positive qualities and perfect them, so I can be of benefit not just for myself but for all others also. And hold this determination single-pointedly. Okay. So try and do some meditation each day, if possible 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. Start with some breathing meditation. Then for this week, for your daily meditation, do this reflection on the freedoms that you have in this life. Reflect on the fortunate circumstances and the opportunities of your life. Then at the end of the meditation, make a determination to make the most of this opportunity by practicing to cultivate positive minds, the qualities of minds, positive minds, and to remove harmful or negative minds. Then throughout the day, try and renew that thought by thinking about and appreciating and rejoicing in the freedoms and the opportunities that you have, and the opportunities that you have to develop qualities and insights, and use that motivation of compassion to motivate all your actions through the day. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask them using the chat. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Caroline, thank you. You're welcome. Thanks, Anna. Okay, if there are no questions, we'll stop there. Remember to do your daily meditation on this subject, and thanks for your attention, and I'll see you again next week. Thank you.